I made a snow golem in real life to defend my house during the winter, and I'll show you how to make one too. This project began in early November 2019 with an extra pumpkin and a crazy idea. Because I live in Canada, it had recently snowed but was warm enough that it was snowball snow. First, I found a pumpkin template on Google Images and put that image into Microsoft Word. I used pieces of blank paper to estimate how large I need it in comparison to the pumpkin, and then printed out that design. This was a rather large pumpkin, so I printed it on 2 horizontal pages and used the bottom eye pixels as a place to tape together both pages. Then I cut the top off the pumpkin and hollowed out its guts as you would with any jack-o'-lantern before carving a face. Afterwards, I affixed the template to the flattest side of the pumpkin with a healthy dose of duct tape. It did curve a little bit with the contours of the pumpkin, but if you scaled it closely enough, you should have no issues with the curves interfering with the cutting or the final product. To cut out the design, I used a serrated knife and cut in as straight lines as possible, following the template as best as I could. And after completing the design, I was able to easily remove the paper and tape and be left with a Minecraft carved pumpkin. I messed up a little during cutting and accidentally sliced off 2 of the bottom teeth, so I put them back into place using round toothpicks. Putting a candle into this turns it into a jack-o'-lantern, which looks very pretty. Next, I started my work on the snowman body. In real life, you can't just shovel snowballs together and compact it into 2 snow blocks using a crafting table, so I had to roll up some snowballs. I don't have video footage of this, but I can demonstrate the technique to get them squarish using Microsoft Paint. I started with a bowling ball sized chunk of snow, and began rolling it in one direction until it began to become cylindrical and almost barrel or round bale shaped. Then I flipped it sideways and began rolling it on the side that was previously flatter. If you do this enough times, you start to get something that resembles a rounded cube. Simply make one of these snow blocks smaller than the other, and use extra bits of snow to mend the gap between both large snowballs and make them look like a continuous piece. If you wanted to, you could also spend some time to make the corners more squared off. Then once those snow blocks were all taken care of, I placed on the pumpkin, and unfortunately he did not spring to life. Instead, I secured the head by making a snowy rim around the pumpkin, trying to keep it contained within a bowl shape. If I were smart, I would have maybe attached it using bamboo skewers or something, but snow seemed to work at least for a little while. The next part of the snow golem to be attached were the stick arms, and these were really just random sticks that I pulled out from the bush. I stabbed these into the middle of the topmost snow block on an angle to match the arms of the Minecraft one. For the 6 coal buttons, I used chunks of charcoal that I had laying around from attempting to forge some knives a while back. And here's the snow golem. He looks really cool and seems like he'd be perfect for defending your house all winter, but the weather had other plans for mine. On November 3rd, just a day after making the snow golem, we got a skiff of snow. This appears to have caused the pumpkin to shift slightly within its bowl, but otherwise it's perfectly fine. On November 11th, the snow golem was still standing proudly in the sun, and the snow from previous days made his body look even more like the Minecraft snow golem. On November 17th, the snow golem looked pretty similar, but you can tell that it's been through some cycles of freezing, warming, and snow. I cleaned the excess snow off the buttons, and noticed that the bottommost one was missing. The teeth that had toothpicks in them also shriveled up a little bit more than the rest of the pumpkin. Then, on November 23rd, disaster struck. The weather decided to warm up to at least 0 degrees Celsius, and this disfigured my snow golem. Only 3 buttons remained, and the pumpkin curled up in such an odd way. Its face now looks like it could be some meme, and you can now see the toothpicks poking out from where the teeth used to be. The thing that amazed me was how much of an angle this was on, and somehow the pumpkin managed to stay within the snow bowl. The snow golem did have a slight lean from the beginning, but it got progressively worse as the days went on. On November 30th, we got hoarfrost. This looks very pretty, but unfortunately it killed the snow golem. Here's what happened to it. The pumpkin was originally covered in a thin layer of ice too, but I chipped it off using my boot. These additional details about my snow golem's fate weren't necessary for the tutorial, but I found them to be very interesting regardless. With consistently cold weather, the snow golem could certainly last all winter and protect you from any skeletons or zombies lurking outside. This was a very fun video to make, and thank you everybody so much for watching it. If you liked it, please do give me a like and a sub, because that really helps me out, and I'll see you all in my next video. Goodbye.